we say hello to Ron Slay, VFL, Tennessee and SEC basketball legend. Ron, good afternoon. Sweet 16 time is here.
It is, man. It's a sweet, sweet time of the year. You got to love this, man. Especially, getting here in the fashion that you got here. You had a blowout win, and then you had a tight win, and everybody had to have all hands inside the pot. All the BVS that set in on people, it did not waver the team at all, man. They were stoic in every scene throughout that game against Texas, man. And I'm just happy to say horns down.
Ron, you know Coach Barnes would not approve of that.
Oh, yeah, good thing I don't play for Coach Barnes. I could care less. Horns down.
Horns down, Ron Slay. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Man, the lack of sportsmanship on the sleigh ride today here on Josh and Swain is fully expected. Fully expected. So Tennessee is now on to the Sweet 16, and we'll dive into the matchup and everything. I do think it's worth repeating. This is such a difficult spot to get to. Yesterday we mentioned the fact that 3 of the last 5 national champs in the NCAA tournament run, they won the title, and the other 4 seasons haven't made it to the Sweet 16, Kansas, Baylor, and Virginia. So they've made it all the way once, and the other 4 times couldn't win 2 games. It's very difficult, and for Tennessee to be back in the Sweet 16 going for its second ever Elite Eight appearance is a pretty special thing.
It is, man. And you look at it, all it takes in this tournament is for one team to get hot or you to make a bunch of mistakes and stay cold and not be able to adjust on the fly, have different guys that don't step up, the panic sets in, whatever it is, man. A lot of things can work against you walking into these neutral site games. I think we were fortunate to be in the Charlotte bracket, and after Michigan State was ousted by North Carolina, a lot of North Carolina fans were sitting there cheering for the Tennessee fans. So that was pretty cool to see. It's funny, man. Every round that you advance to, man, the stakes get higher and the intensity picks up, and you got to be able to live and hold true to that moment, and we did. The Vols did, man.
Ron, tell me about what you think about my defensive strategy playing against a team in Creighton that really short bench, rotation of about 7 players. You look at Tennessee's depth, especially at the guard position. We saw that play out versus Texas where Jordan Gainey was able to come in, do a great job defensively. Santiago Vescovi, Zakai Ziegler, you got Jamar Meshack. Like we're deep there when it comes to defenders at the guard position. What do you think about a wrinkle of playing more full court to try to see if you can affect the Creighton guards who they don't have a lot of backups because they do have a 7-man rotation? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm all on board with that, Swain. I think you got to do it under control, though. I think you got to have a mindset of we're not going out there to pressure to get steals. It's more so to wear a team down and let our depth come into play and make them have to get into their depth. So if that's now we accept, you getting turnovers and live ball turnovers, creating easy baskets. That's without question something that you want. But a team like Creighton that depends on shooting threes and you're able to take their legs from them by pressuring. They just had overtime games that they had to go through. So at some point, it starts to set in. I know we have a break between that game and this game, but still, though, man, that's a lot of wear and tear on the body throughout the entire season. And if that depth doesn't remain true and you don't tap into it, you can be in trouble. So I would love to be able to expose that, have guys put them in pressure situations, and also, man, really making them defend by pushing pace as well to make them have to keep up. And be in scramble situations where they have to exert a lot of energy and maybe pick up some cheap fouls here and there, and then you have to climb into that bench and see what they have. But yeah, I'm for that, man. I'm for speeding the game up and trying to create some chaos in a sense. But you got to be smart about it because they will make you pay.
Ron Slay with us, VFL SEC network analyst on the radio each afternoon on 3HL, on the Zone in Nashville as well. Ron, Dalton Knecht and Tennessee's offense, part of what Dalton's able to do is going to change the potential of what Tennessee is offensively in general, right? He has not shot great recently, did against St. Peter's, but against higher level competition, the shot's not fallen as often recently, including this past Saturday. What do you make of that? How does that affect maybe what Tennessee is trying to do against a Creighton defense that has been really effective in making teams take tougher shots, less efficient shots this season?
Yeah, I think DK, man, just continue to be himself. I think everything plays out the way it's supposed to. If it was one wrinkle that I would throw at him, it would be, man, I would love to see him get to his mid-range spot without playing to his mid-range spot, if that makes sense. More like he does a great job as far as getting all the way to the cup, finishing in traffic, or pulling up off the dribble into the three-pointer. That mid-range game, I think that's how he can alleviate a lot of this pressure and physicality that these guys are playing with. Some hard drives, stop on a dime, pull up, because he extends and raises up over guys. I think he could get to that. A lot of times when we see him in the mid-range, there's a lot of time him coming off a curl or, him walking somebody down, posting up 1 or 2 dribbles and then trying to turn around and shoot. I think, man, that's the way you get those guys up off of you and be able to disconnect as far as that physical contact, being able to drive hard, 1-2 dribbles, stop on the dime, raise up, and square up and let it fly. I think that'll be big time for them, and it'll throw defenses off. I think they are known and they want to run them off the three-point line from standstill shooting, and if getting all the way to the rim, make sure to meet them with some contact. I think if you're watching the game, that'll be a good way to get some of that good, and also be able to get a nice little rhythm too, being able to shoot that little 15, 16-footer. I think that'll be cool too, and it'll catch people off guard. But I think he's fine though as well. I think it's rhythm, getting to your shots, continue shooting, do not second guess, don't think about it, continue playing the way you are. The reason we're here is because you're playing the way you are, and sometimes the best offense is putting that ball on the rim and having guys crash like Josiah, Adu, Tobe, Meshack, Gainey in situations like this. That plays the difference.
It seems like, Ron, that this game for Dalton Knecht is going to be a big challenge for him defensively. When you look at Shireman and problems that he can cause you as a defender, do you feel like this is one of Dalton Knecht's biggest challenges defensively?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and I think he ought to be able to use his pay attention to a scouting report first and foremost, and then he ought to be able to use his athleticism to recover in situations where he doesn't have to put himself out of in harm's way as far as trying to belly up. And they know how to create space and they know how to eat up space. You're playing against some heady guards when you're playing against Creighton, and their system allows them to play that way. So you just gotta, man, play basketball. I'm looking at it, man, at the situation. Once you get to this, there's 16 teams remaining, and it's not like they're going to come at you in waves. They coming at you in one way, and that's the way they are. So you just got to be ready to go, man. It's right now you got to go out there and hoop. It's mano-a-mano, and at some point, all the X's and O's is great, you know what I mean? But, dude, stop your man. And I'm not saying you got to stop him every single time. Just make it a contested shot. We don't want to give up any freebies once you get to this point, because everybody can make you pay. So whatever he has, whoever he's guarding, whoever he's trying to defend, man, just keep him in front. Don't give up anything cheap, and play straight up base defense. He'd be fine, man.
So VFL Ron Slay with us for the entire hour. It's the Sleigh Ride presented each week by Native Design, which we appreciate so much, with the Native Nursery for contractors and landscapers. And Ron, when you go into this week, this is an experienced team. They're both actually experienced, both sides, Tennessee and Creighton. How is this week different from a mental standpoint, with the stakes being raised, as you mentioned last segment? Now you're playing for an Elite Eight spot and then trying to get to the Final Four. More people are watching on a bigger stage for you this weekend.
Yeah, you still have a dress rehearsal that you just went through the week before, and you got to keep that same mindset. Nothing's going on outside of your region, which would be that Detroit, like Coach Barnes saying, invitational. What's going on there is all that matters. I think that's the way to kind of, watch it and take it in. The day in between, never had to deal with that because we didn't get to make it past that part. But you lock in on the team that you'll be playing. It's only really that matters to you is 4 teams. Well, 3 other teams That's all that really matters. You're not watching what's going on in the other brackets. None of that matters because you're getting so much attention yourself. It's almost overwhelming in that aspect that you don't have time to think about what's going on in the West region, any of that stuff. So you come into it and you focus on you, and you're going to have so much attention on you. You ain't got time to worry about anybody else anyway. So it's going to be good, man. It should be fun for these guys to go through this, especially knowing that they got to this spot last year without Zakai, and he ought to be excited to get back to this. And, I would push all of it on him if I was one of the players. Like, Zakai, you do all the talking, man. You ain't been here. You was as a guy watching last time. Now you're a player, and so it's different.
Yeah, Zakai's the last guy I worry about from a mental standpoint, how he's affected. And that is part of the storyline here. This time a year ago, he was watching his team play in the Sweet 16, and he couldn't be a part of it. And that it is impressive to me when you look back that they made that run without him, especially losing him so late in the season. But that had to be so difficult to watch them play in the Sweet 16, and he couldn't be there. And now we know what he's done since then in the last 12 months since he came back.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm shifting all the focus and energy to him. He can handle it. He gets to burn it off. He's going to play 40 minutes, 35 at the minimum. Excuse me. As long as he's not in foul trouble. So he'll be fine. He can handle it. He's been dealing with it. And this right here is easy. Like this is the easy part. All you got to do is continue to set guys up, take the brute of all of the questions, the answers that are going to be thrown. You're spearheading this entire thing, Zakai. Like, you missed this, you want it. You get to alleviate some of the pressure from Dalton Knecht. To me, it's more on Zakai than it is Dalton Knecht, man. Like, we know what DK is, and he's going to continue to do it. But playing on both ends, Zakai, man, he's the body, man. He's the head, the body, and Simone.
What happened to the SEC, man, in the tournament? I mean, I was distraught to see the win-loss record for the SEC. From your point of view, what happened?
Man, it's one game. I think that's what it is. When you talk about the strength of the conference and what it is, like, I didn't have them Auburn getting beat by Yale. I didn't have Kentucky getting beat by Oakland or none of that. And I don't think anybody else in the country did. Like, if you look at it, man, and you get Kentucky to play Oakland 9 more times to make it 10, they beat them 9 out of 9. 9 more times to make it 10. They beat them 9 out of 9 times. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think it's the same thing with Yale and Auburn. But that's the thing in the tournament, man. It only takes one mistake. One mistake. I think in Auburn's situation, Baker Mazar went out and threw off their chemistry as much as he brings to the team, emotional lift and things of that nature. Kentucky just not paying attention to details. Hey, we always talk about them scoring, but defense is something that we shoot three. We said, man, was going to have to come out and play. So, I mean, you look at it along the entire SEC, Mississippi State, Texas A&M battled. Both of them battled. It just didn't get the job done. And there's no excuse to be made. Do I think that makes the conference any less? Not at all. I think it's still the strength as far as top to bottom. When you talk about 8 teams getting in, 9 teams, could be 10 next year, I think all that stays the same. I hear a lot of people talking about the ACC and Big East, they undefeated and all that. All that's cool, but also you only got 3 teams representing. I mean, that's your top-heavy league, and that's fine. We'll see now. We'll see now where the strength of the league lies when you have Alabama and Tennessee, if they can continue to advance. I think when you look at it, the league, the way it's built up, you're not running into anything that you haven't seen before that's outside of your league. So none of it should be caught off guard. Now, playing better, that's one thing. That's something that's out of anybody's control.
Rick mentioned when we talked to him earlier today about the closest, team that they've played to being Creighton was Alabama. I mean, how do you see Alabama playing them twice help Tennessee prepare for Creighton?
Yeah, I think that's a good team to pick from when you're talking about Alabama. Only difference I would say is Alabama's playmakers in Sears and Estrada are much more dynamic than Creighton's are. So their system is based around the players and them figuring it out. as far as when you look at Alabama. And I think Creighton's system finds the open shots for Creighton, if that makes sense. Like, I don't worry about those guys beating guys off the dribble. When you look at Creighton, look like at a more athletic team when you're talking about Sears and Estrada being able to handle the point guard responsibilities and Reitzel as well for Alabama compared to Creighton. And there's no knock to them. That's just who they are. You know what I mean? But when you talk about concepts and things of that nature, both of them have the same idea of what they want, threes and layups. It's real simple to do. But the offense, for me, with Creighton, dictates where the open shots are going to come instead of just saying, all right, y'all, we're going to space out, break your man down, get some pitches to threes, and be able to knock them down that way.
Hey, Ron, one other note from the SEC, VFL, Ron Slay with us, the Sleigh Ride presented by Native Design. What's the appropriate conversation right now in Lexington? With everything not settled there with what happens moving forward, but John Calipari's show last night, he was talking about how committed he is to getting things right. What should be talked about right now up there at Kentucky?
What should be talked about is the same thing that I believe going into this preseason was talked about. With this recruiting class that he brought in, if he's not able to get it done, they should be talking about him being removed or his seat being scorching hot. And that's where we are. If they had an early exit, this is exactly what should be expected. I mean, he set these expectations. And how long we talked about all over the years, man, how long was Big Blue Nation going to be able to be understanding that, man, we got the most all-stars out of any university playing in the NBA All-Star game? That didn't hang a banner. Man, all these contracts that these guys, it's over $1 billion, $4 billion or something over a lifespan. That don't hang up banners. Guys coming back, and helping recruit. That don't hang up banners. These people love championships, and rightfully so. When you talk about a blue blood program that's gone on and won over and over and over, and can recruit itself, Calipari brings a lot to Kentucky, and he elevated them even more. But it has been stagnant, and you can say the same for every other coach, dating back to Rupp, Patino, the list goes on and on. Tubby Smith, all these guys won, and once they stopped winning, outside of Patino, him walking away, everybody else was ousted because the expectation is right there. And Cal is no different. You promise things, you promise getting wins, and if you look over the last 4 years, this league belongs to Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama. If you talk about regular season championships and SEC conference tournament championships, Tennessee got 2 of the last 3. Auburn got 3 of the last 4. Like, it's in Alabama, we know what Alabama is. So you got to figure it out. That's you think, man, them conversations, man, after going out of football season, you hearing, ooh, this is a basketball-only school? Is it? Rhetorical.
Yeah, one of their football players said, hey, don't worry, we got you. Football season right around the corner.
See what I'm saying? And them conversations never supposed to come up.
No.
Yeah, we got you. We'll get 1 point closer to Tennessee this year. We promise.
Yeah,
that's all they need.
It's a stressful time in Lexington, not in Knoxville, at least not for those reasons. As Tennessee gets ready for the Sweet 16, we continue on the Sleigh Ride, presented by Native Design, which is now open the Native Nursery for contractors and landscapers. Call 865-310-3256. NativeTN.com is the website for Native Design, now with the Native Nursery. And we have Ron Slay with us for the entire hour. Last hour, Ron, we had a chance to talk to Tennessee basketball coach Rick Barnes, and Swain asked Rick about officiating, how it's gone so far, the first couple of rounds of the tournament. You've seen these games in person. You've seen the way that they've been officiated. We also saw Tobe Awaka, the impact he made for Tennessee against Texas, but the foul trouble he dealt with. So part of those go together. What you've seen from the officiating, the approach Tennessee should take, and then how Tobe should approach what he's doing, how aggressive he is, but how careful he needs to be at the same time.
Yeah, I think, man, looking at the officiating, first and foremost, man, the thing that stood out was the blown calls throughout the tournament so far. And then in this particular game, Tennessee versus Texas, the charge that's been, we know. And I remember being on calls with officials and them telling us, expect this, especially the guys that's going to be doing color and play-by-play. Like, having a meeting with them probably about an hour on Zoom, and them talking about the charge block situation and how a lot of the times it'll be a block. We're kind of throwing that out as far as guys being able to sell the charge and all of that. And that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case in this game at all. I thought that changed the trajectory of the game a lot early on with Josiah, who I thought was playing real aggressive, and I'm glad he came back in and continued that. But that could have stunted his play a bit. As far as Tobe goes, man, that was one hell of a game, man. And when you have guys on your team that are able to go match intensity, the reason I believe some of those fouls are called on Tobe is because he's the only one doing that. That's the problem. If everyone went aggressively to the boards like that, Josiah did, but Gainey did when he gave his opportunity, Meshack did. But if you can do that consistently over and over, then they wouldn't be able to call that foul on Tobe because they would look at the other team's bench and say, what you want me to do? Like, I can't call the foul on every single play. They can't do that. So the game would last forever, and then you wouldn't have no players. So I think Tobe did a masterful job of coming in and switching the momentum of the game. And it wasn't just out of aggressive strength or anything. It was all going to go get the ball, all in attack mode. And that was something I thought that Jonas was lacking early on. You saw him fumbling the ball, missing a couple of layups, but Tobe came in and that became contagious. Jonas got back in and picked up where Tobe left off. So that was really good, man, for him to be able to come and set the tone like that. I thought that was dope. And that's one of the things when you're playing that 6-man, 7-man role, you get to go in and affect the game where it's there's nobody else on the other bench that can match your energy and intensity if you go out there and play with it all and in the right way. Tobe, as far as, man, me personally, you're going to need him, but, man, don't change a thing about the way you playing. The most aggressive team, the most disciplined team, the team that plays the hardest is the one that's going to be probably at the end of these games with a win. So if that's what Tobe brings to this team, continue to bring that. And that man, that is infectious to the other players. Like, I don't remember seeing Gainey jump that high for an offensive rebound before. Like, I was like, wow, this dude got up. Like, and that was big. The last play, Josiah getting the defensive rebound where Jonas didn't box out. His man was about to grab that ball if Josiah didn't run and attack that last defensive rebound. That was huge. So many different things, man, but you got to give all love to Tobe as a catalyst, man. Meshack playing his part, but especially Tobe. It reminded me of the Louisiana Lafayette game when we were our game was, in my year before playing UConn, was kind of hanging in the balance. And you need plays like that. And I was inserted into the game and kind of had that same spark. And it ain't about, going out there and getting 15 and 10 or anything. It's the impactful minutes, the impactful plays that you make that mean the most in those type of games.
Right, I've never seen the rims be that tight to where it affected so many shots. I mean, the ball just did not want to go in for both teams.
Yeah. And I mean, Swain, the ball was in and out. It was like some stuff you see on double rims outside at the park.
Yeah.
Like that's not what you're supposed to be seeing in the NCAA tournament. I don't know what it is, man. They need to loosen them or what, but I just continue to say, man, those are the games that you learn from this season, playing at Mississippi State, at Texas A&M, when South Carolina came to you, and you were in against Mississippi State in the SEC tournament, when the ball's not falling and you're able to turn it on and be able to make the plays at the right times and continue to have your confidence, that's different. That's different. You were able to learn from those mistakes, man, and you didn't make the same. When it came around this time, Josiah nailed that three in the corner.
Yep.
Dalton Knecht coming out the baseline out of bounds, did not hesitate. He knew he was shooting that three, regardless how many he had missed before. He was shooting it, and it was money, and it was needed at that time. So, got to continue to keep doing it, man. Zakai, just keep letting it fly. And sometimes that's your best offense, man. Letting these guys go get it off the rim.
Ron, Swain can be a bit of a mess during these games. As calm and cool and collected as Jason Swain is,
Yeah.
How are you going to be on Friday there in Detroit, watching Tennessee trying to get to only its second Elite Eight, trying to get to the Final Four for the first time ever? How are you going to be?
You know what? I'm gonna be good, man. I'm gonna be a trash talking machine from my spot in the stands. And that'll be towards the players, towards officials, whoever it may be. I'm gonna be all the way engaged. I will say, man, I didn't go into panic not one time in that Texas game, and being that close to watch the team, it resonates off of them, like the confidence that they had in one another. All those guys, like that was so impressive to me. Like nobody pointing fingers, nobody like, hey man, now let's try to do this. Everybody was on the same page. They were calm, collected. Hey man, let's go out here and get this stop. Let's go out here and do this. Kept feeding confidence in each other. And I thought that was real dope to see. And maybe that's why I didn't get nervous, because I was like, dog, they're in it. You know what I'm saying? Like they are not panicking. Like nobody is breathing hard, or like everybody was calm and in the moment. And that was really, really dope to see how engaged these guys were. And the game was actually moving pretty slow. Usually I have to go back and watch the game. So if it's moving like that, I'm fine and I'll be under control come Friday.
Were you calm and collected when Brock Cunningham tossed Jordan Gainey to the ground?
No, I wasn't. I hated that. And I'm so glad that I wasn't out there, because I know me. I would have done something so dumb. Me and Cunningham would definitely been out of the game, and it would have been due to the dumb stuff that I was going to do. Like it's good to have cooler heads prevail, man. But
and Gainey stood up smiling. He knew immediately.
Yeah,
Cunningham's about to be in trouble.
Yeah,
I got you.
He knew it. Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about it. Like he was smart. He was smart about the situation. Me, I wouldn't have been that smart. I would have probably been a little dumb. But I will say, man, that was a great job by the coaches, letting these guys know that he has a history of doing this. So be on the lookout for it. Don't get caught up in it. And that was dope to see. Like he should have been ejected for that though, because I thought what was more malicious than the throwdown was how he came in for the offensive board on that play with the elbow to the back of Gainey's head before he even got to that. They didn't even replay that for some reason, but he elbowed him in the back of the head, which made Gainey go down and then go in the box out position. Like it was wild, man. I don't know how you able to get away with that. And then Baker Mazar gets tossed out for retaliating against somebody. So.
But Jordan Gainey and Tennessee on to the Sweet 16. Texas done for the season. We had Jackie say, Ron, you need to be up there to talk enough trash for all of us, especially Josh. It'll be past his bedtime. Late tip up in Detroit for Tennessee against Creighton. Will you be polling one way or the other, Gonzaga-Purdue, before the Tennessee-Creighton game for an opponent for Tennessee on Sunday?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm definitely pulling for Gonzaga. I want Purdue to always get. Purdue would have got knocked off in the first round. Like I want them to get handled, man. Like get that big dominant force up out of the game. Like it's not fair to have a 7'4" guy that skilled to be able to play that long and get up and down the floor. No, get him out of there immediately. I'm pulling for Gonzaga.
Okay,
Gonzaga.
That's the answer I expected.
Shoot,
yeah, but there's the rematch opportunity. You could knock out Zach Edey. Wouldn't that give you a little more pride?
Yeah, that's cool if that's the way it comes down to it. But if you can knock it out before getting there, yeah, I like. Listen, I don't want to have to play against Shaq. Right. But if I do, I mean, it's cool. We got to do what we got to do. Ain't no way around it.
Yep.
But it's gonna be interesting. I think Mark Few, man, he always got some tricks up his sleeve, man.
That team's playing really well. 9 straight Sweet 16s for Gonzaga.
Yeah,
that is remarkable. To make that kind of run for any program to do that, Gonzaga included.
Absolutely. You hit on it early in the show, talking about these guys that made the Final Four, not even getting back to this point, and they getting there every year in and year out, and always get tested.
Yep.
And talked about and have the spotlight on their back because of the conference and how they run through it. But man, Mark Few, he got those guys playing the right way with the right energy, man, and it's good to watch. It's fun basketball to watch. I will say that.
Mm-hmm. Who's the next number 1 seed that's on upset alert the most, Ron?
I'm gonna have to go. If I had to pick one, it'd be Arizona. I had to get Arizona up out of there, man. It's just they can have some inconsistencies at time and look like a shell of themselves. They rely so much on Caleb Love, and if other guys, Larson and those guys aren't going, it could be different. But to me, they're the weakest of the four. So that'll be the one I would roll with.
If they advance, both teams, we would get a rematch not a rematch. It would be Caleb Love against his old school. UNC and Arizona waiting in the Elite Eight.
That'd be good.
Yeah, UNC against Alabama in the Sweet 16.
That'd be good. Even though, like, listen, man, I like what UNC has, R.J. Davis and them guys, but I want to see Baycott go up against a big man, a big fella.
Like it's one of the more interesting matchups if we see that in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ron, what did we miss here in the final couple of minutes? We were asked, so has Tobey earned a key to the Boom Boom Room? I don't know if you want to make that official. Okay.
Definitely. I was screaming it from the stands, lock the door. Al was looking at me like, man, your voice going to be all right? Man, hey, dog, like I've never, I'm trying to think, the last game I've been to and I felt that type of feeling, like where I got chills and like wanted to run on the court was Kentucky at Tennessee when they had P.J. Washington, and they were kind of punking Grant Williams in the first half. And I got the opportunity to say something to Grant at halftime, and he went out there and turned it on. And, went to work. And Tennessee ended up winning that one. That's when they had the baseline dunk from Schofield. That was nasty. But that was the last game, and I could say a big just really took – Tobey, you could feel it. Like, man, this man grabbing up. Like, man, I want to go out there and hug that man. Like, I'm going to be real. Like, Tobey, man, I'm so proud of you. I'm Josiah, dude, I remember them coming out of the under 4 timeout and me telling my partner, I said, man, now this is the reason and where your fifth-year guys can turn it on, and this is the reason they came back for moments like this.
You talked about that on the show last week.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Under 4 minutes, this is the time to close it out. Santi and Joe were in the game. Like, this is why you came back. No other reason. All the regular season, all that's good. It's for times like this. Man went out there and answered that bell, man, shot that 3. Hit that 3 in that corner, man. Hey, man, I'm proud of them dudes, man. I'm going to be real, like, golly. That's one of them big brother moments when you sit back and you be like, that's all right, man. Them dudes do listen at some point. Man. So continue to keep that rolling, man. But I think as much as we get on them, the fans and everything, and ask when he going to deliver, man, y'all need to give Josiah his flowers, man. Because that 9-9 was like 18-10. I'm going to be real.
What'd you say to Grant Williams?
I can't repeat.
We have FCC rules here, Ron. You know about him.
I know, but you're a professional. You can clean it up.
He was coming, getting ready. I was coming off the floor, crossing paths with him. Told him, hey, man, them dudes down there can't bleep with you. Like, they scared of you, and you playing timid. Slapped him on the chest like, come on, man. Be the Grant that we need you to be, man. What are you waiting on? And he said, all right.
That's it.
Yes, sir. And it was on. And, it was, see, I think I might have hurt myself because I don't get the seats like I used to. I think that at that time I was right behind the bench, and I was, I was letting P.J. Washington hit. That was the game he went down with cramps, and I'm telling everybody in the stands why it's quiet. We don't care. Like, quit hovering around, dude. So, and we ain't got nothing to do with him. They let them come down and figure out what's going on with his little legs. You know what I mean? We on to the next one. Bring somebody else in so we can get this game underway. So I'm finding myself moving up. My seats are moving further and further back. This time I was about the 5th row. Al Wilson had a seat in front of me. Al is legend without question, you know what I mean? And salute to my dog, you know what I mean? But Al shouldn't be in the 4th row and me be in the 5th row, you know what I mean? Al got the same attitude as what y'all don't understand, and he's saying the same exact thing. He's just not saying it. He's just saying it with his eyes. I'm verbally saying it. So y'all not getting away from this, man. You know what I mean? This is how all VFLs feel, and we're going to continue to show this kind of support, man. So,
it's true.
Quit putting me up and up and up and up, y'all. I need to be closer and closer to the flow.
upper room.
Ron, we are past our out time. Has Al Wilson, though, told you, is he going to Detroit as well? Will he be there when you're there this Friday?
I'm going to text him. I hope he is.
Okay.
I hope he is, man.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
He's been good luck for Tennessee, too, just like you.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. I'm going to make sure I'm shaved and tightened up like Al for this next game, too.
Lock the door on Friday. Tennessee against Creighton in the Sweet 16. Ron Slay every week on the Slay Ride. Thanks to Native Design with the Native Nursery. Go to nativetn.com on 3HL in the afternoons on the Zone in Nashville as well. Safe travels. Look forward to seeing you there cheering on Tennessee on Friday. Ron, thank you for the time as always.
No doubt, man. Coaching staff, man, salute to them, too. Continue doing what y'all doing. And Chad Newman, keep these folks healthy, man.